Beginning our mat class this morning, we are going to breathe in an upright position. You might want to get your goodies, maybe weights, a block or a ball or something for the inner thighs, and of course your mat. You can start with your legs in a comfortable position. I'm going to cross mine. So I'm sitting cross-legged, and you can be elevated a little bit if that's more comfortable for your spine. And just rest your hands. Allow the soft palate and the roof of the mouth to glide back and up a little bit. So it's floating lightly above the muscles at the base of the pelvis. And then keep that sense of alignment through all points in between and lower your gaze just a little bit. Not because looking forward is bad, but because that enables the base of your skull to be even more lifted over the top of your spine. Breathe in through the nose. When the inhale is complete, lightly kegel and exhale through the mouth. Inhale when it's time for that. Kegling, exhale through the mouth. And feel the breath as it travels upward through the crown. I'd like you to continue here for a solid minute or two. If your focus is helped by closing the eyes, of course you can close the eyes, but remain mindful of the position of your head. Mindful also that you are a three-dimensional creature. So feel the breath in the back of you as well as in the left and right sides, and of course in the front. Now, because transversus, this breathing muscle that we're trying to access, goes all the way around you like a corset. When you exhale and contract this muscle, it's going to move toward the sides of your waist. Right? It connects in front and connects in back to big bands of fascia. And then the muscle fibers, as you exhale, are going to slide away from the midline, front and back, finally gathering toward the sides of your waist. Sides of the waist firm and stable, as well as long. 2 more exhales. Without any tucking of the pelvis or pitching forward of the head. 1 more exhale. And then inhale. Open your eyes if they're closed and roll your shoulders a couple of times. We're going to right away lie down after this. So remove what you're sitting on. Maybe a little layer of blanket under your head is fine. And we'll lie back into a bent knee position. Right away today, go ahead and grab whatever you're using for your inner thighs and place it between your knees. I'm using my block this morning. Take a moment to orient here. You might move the pelvis around a little bit, sort of like earlier we were finding the position of the head. The position of the head is pretty steady here. Feel that as the pelvis neutralizes, once more, this time the muscles at the base of the pelvis align with the muscles at the roof of your mouth or with a position under the crown of your head. Inhale through the nose downward. When the inhale is complete, kegel and exhale, increasing the pressure against whatever you're holding between your knees as you go deeper into completion of the exhale breath. Inhale when it's time. You can soften the squeeze between the inner thighs just a little bit, but remain aware of your feet. Then kegel and exhale. Breath lifting upward through the crown as the knees squeeze a little bit more firmly. Do this 3 more times, inhaling through the nose and engaging that core with your exhale. You'll feel the belly dropping inward, the sides of the waist firming. Hang on to your Kegel as you inhale. You'll essentially use it as a grounding point for the action of the breath downward. And then exhale moves upward, just like a zipper pulling up inside. One more breath in and breath out. Moving into a round of imprint and release, inhale to prepare. Kegel, begin your exhale as you also begin to squeeze the block and move into an imprint, drawing the low back toward the mat as you both lengthen and flatten through the lower spine. Inhale as you return to neutral. And each time you exhale, make your imprint, connecting to core and the lower abdominal muscles. Return to neutral on your inhale. And move through a total of 5 rounds of imprint and release. When you've completed your last round, put your block or ball off to the side. And stretch one leg down the mat as we get ready for some hip release. So we've got one leg lengthened down the mat and the other knee bent. Pelvis is neutral. Stay here and exhale. On the inhale breath, drop the bent knee out to the side and slide the foot long. On the exhale, roll inward and pull the heel upward. Inhale, dropping the knee out and sliding the leg down. And of course, you're lying down to do this. Exhale, turning inward from the hip and pulling the heel up. Do 2 more times in the outward, downward, beginning direction. And feel that when you get to the point of pulling the heel up, you're not using the hip flexor, but you're using the hamstrings to pull the calf toward the thigh. When you've done your 4th one, pause in place. Prepare with an exhale, and we reverse, same leg. Inhale, knee drops across the midline and the foot slides. Exhale from the hip, turn outward and draw the heel up. 4 total, creating this nice circular motion in the hip. So we're bringing some warmth and some circulation into that joint as we work our stabilizers. When you've done your last one in this inward direction, bend both knees and pause for a moment. I'd like you to exhale and imprint before going to the other side. Inhale, return to neutral. And exhale, stretch the new leg long on the mat. Inhale, drop the bent knee out to the side, slide the leg down. Exhale, roll it in and draw up, going through 4 repetitions. Slow and gentle, each breath is complete, so we're not rushing through this one at all. And when you've done 4, reverse the direction of movement. We'll inhale to drop the knee inward and slide the leg down. Turn it out with the exhale and pull the heel up using the muscles underneath the back of the thigh rather than gripping the muscles on the front of the hip. Good. When you've done your final one, pause in place. And again, just once, bend both knees. And on your exhale, make an imprint. This time, hold here. Inhale. And exhale, lift a leg at a time into tabletop. Use the second exhale for the second leg and be sure to articulate through the feet, pointing into the toe and lifting up. When the legs are up, go ahead and hold on to the back of your thighs. And you can pull a little. You don't necessarily have to bend forward from the mat, but if you like to bend forward through the spine so that the head lifts up, you can. Open the chest and the shoulders and move the shoulder blades down. And then if your head is lifted, exhale and lower it to the ground. We'll do, with the head on the ground, a little single leg stretch here. So from both knees in, you're going to exhale and extend one leg long as you continue to hold the other knee in toward the torso. Inhale, and on your exhale, switch across the sides. Feel length through the hips from the imprint, both front and back leg. Continue alternating across the sides without pulling the shoulders up into the neck muscles. Complete the round you're on and do one more. Keep your imprint and exhale, put one foot at a time down on the ground. With the feet on the ground now, exhale, return to neutral. And place your hands under the back of your head. A little bit of ab prep, a little bit of upper back flexion. Notice with your hands behind your head, if you feel like your chest is pressing forward or you get a pinch at the back of the neck, move your elbows in and out until you find a place where the upper spine is comfortable. Then inhale, nod the chin downward toward the chest. Keep the upper spine comfortable and stretchy. And exhale, begin with sensation in the pelvis as you both kegel and engage the abs. Bending at the bottom of the ribs. Lifting your head and your shoulders forward. Inhale here. And exhale to lower down. We'll repeat that. Nod the chin to the chest. Kegel, focus on sensation in the pelvis that moves upward as you exhale. Bending at the bottom of the ribs as the breath continues to pass through. Inhale at the top and exhale to lower. Do 3 more of these. And a lot of people find that this is not only an exercise in strength, but improper sequencing. So we want to make sure we get the exhale firing into the core, right? And then the movement follows. Know that you're not going to tense your upper back to push your back forward. You're going to relax the upper back and ribs and beneath you and contract the abs in front to lift the head forward. When you've lowered from this one, pause. Get your hands out from behind your head and roll over onto your side. We'll do spinal rotation. And you can use a block between your knees if that's helpful. We're going to be careful as we do our rotation and stabilize the lower body that instead of pressing or tightening the outer part of the hips, that we truly engage the inner thighs. Yeah, so sometimes the block is helpful in that regard. Arms are forward. You can have a weight or not in your hands. Prepare with an exhale, and then on your inhale, turn the head upward as you lift the top arm. Squeeze the block with the inner thighs, and exhale, open without adding resistance through the neck or the upper back. Inhale here. Kegel, exhale, activate inner thighs, and return without tensing the outer hips. 3 more. Inhale, lift the arm, turn the head. Exhale. Find your connection and the length that results as you open into twist. Take a breath. Let that top shoulder really open wide and drop back. And then exhale and return. A total of 4 on the first side. And this too is all about sequencing. And not only sequencing, but engaging the right muscles for the right job. When you've returned from your final repetition, just roll over to the second side, please. All right, be just as careful setting it up in the new direction. Stacking hips and shoulders, stacking knees, stabilizing lower body by exhaling and lightly squeezing inner thighs without engaging outer hips or low back. And then inhale, turn the head as you lift the top arm. Exhale, proceed into your twist. After engaging your core, keep pelvic floor, keep your support in your center, and then use it to initiate your return. Good, 4 on this side, please. The head turns as the arm lifts, and you continue to track open with that arm as you move into the larger rotation. Exhale just a little bit ahead of your movement, and then build into movement as you build into core. 2 more. Nice, you guys. And last repetition. Good. Come on to hands and knees, please. We're going to do cat and cow. If you like, you can continue to use the block between the knees. That's optional. We'll work as we have been all this week, initiating from the bottom end of the spine as we move into our angry cat curve and returning from the head downward. All right. So we're on our hands and knees and we've got neutral. Move the ribs a little forward and back through the shoulders and through the waist until you feel that midpoint where the front of the ribs are aligned with the belly wall and the shoulders are balanced between front and back. Prepare here with an inhale. Get your kegel, begin exhaling and start rounding from the bottom of the spine upward. It's a sequential movement. Remember to take it through all the vertebrae, even the tough spots that don't like to bend, even the neck and the head. Inhale. Start at the head and exhale. Feel an opening through the chest, a broadening through the collarbones as you level. That movement rippling downward through the tail. And then on the inhale, extend the upper back, widening shoulder tops. Release. And do again. Exhale, rounding from the lower spine upward. Soften out of any pinchiness or stiffness between the shoulder blades. You can push back a little as you round through the upper back and neck. Inhale here. On your exhale, allow your chest to move forward and reach upward, leveling through neutral first, and then continuing into extension of the upper back. Release and do more and more round. Exhale to round the spine forward, making an angry cat curve. Hold there for a breath in. And then exhale, starting at the head, re-neutralize the spine. Feel that movement feeding smoothly into the extension of the upper back. Inhale, release. Then lie down onto your backs, please. So we'll do some tabletop work. We'll be moving with the arms as well as returning to some ab prep. Have a block or ball nearby in case you want to use it as a spacer or an initiator for the inner thighs. And in neutral, once you've gotten there, have just one calm breath in, one calm breath out. Inhale, mindful of your big toes into the mat. And then exhale, make your imprint, feeling length up through the crown, as well as down through the back of the hips. We'll move into tabletop now. Exhale, as you lift a leg into tabletop, come onto the point of the toes first, and then pick the foot up off the ground. Do the same for the second leg. That engagement through the feet and the lower legs are really important in keeping this chain active. When the legs are up, put a block or ball between the knees, unless that just really is not helpful or feels crummy. And then finally, with or without the weights, extend the arms forward to the ceiling, palms facing inward. Arms are vertical. I'd like you to exhale and retract the shoulder blades lightly. And then inhale, hold a little bit more firmly onto the weights. And on the next exhale, reach the arms back from the shoulders. Hold the reach and inhale down through the sides of the waist. Kegel, exhale, squeeze the block or just the inner thighs, and return the arms to vertical, just forward of the shoulders. Inhale, firm in your grip strength, mobile in the shoulder joint. Exhale, reach the arms back. Hold the reach, keep your Kegel, and use it as the grounding point for your inhale. Draw the breath down through the pelvis. Kegel, point your toes, and exhale, return. 2 more times with this, please. Exhaling to reach, keeping the position through the lower spine, particularly lower ribs, lower back. Exhale, return. And then 1 more time, reaching back. Returning on exhale, bring the arms all the way down by your sides. Get the weights out of the way, but then we do some ab prep forward with the arms reaching long. We get a chance to feel that moving downward of the shoulder blades, right? And I often describe it as when we bend forward, the shoulder blades are going to feel like they're sliding down the ribs, but actually the ribs are kind of sliding up through the shoulder blades. Take a breath in, not the head, and then exhale, start to lengthen the ribs, bending from the waist until the head and the shoulder tops lift. The arms remain parallel to the ground. Inhale here. Exhale and lower. 3 more of these. Nod the chin to the chest. Squeeze the block. Activate your low abs as the initiator for this movement. And then as you bend forward, the ribs grow through the shoulder blades into the curve. Inhale and exhale, return. Continue through 2 more repetitions. And of course, find your own pacing for this. Feel the contraction in the inner thighs, the abs, pelvic floor, and feel the sliding and the stretching through the back. When you've lowered from this one, put the block off to the side. And then exhale, lower 1 foot at a time to the mat. When the feet are down, return to a neutral pelvis. And if it feels okay to you, you can drop both knees left, both knees right. Otherwise, you can let the knees fall apart. Everyone kind of has their preferred stretch for inner hips and thighs. We'll do hip rolls next. So it's a targeted stretch through the front of the hips for sure. And you might want to have your block again. We have the knees bent. We spent a lot of time with the hips in flexion, yeah? So we were in tabletop and we're holding here for a long amount of time. Here, we start again in a flexed position, but as we come to the top, You're going to feel a real opening through the area that was just flexed, and it should feel pretty sweet. So in neutral at the bottom, minimal or no head mat. Inhale, feel the toes against the floor. Kegel, begin to exhale and to squeeze the block as you move through your imprint. Avoid tensing the shoulders or the back of the ribs, and continue rolling the spine off of the mat as you flex through each joint. Begin to really push from the bottom of the feet through the back of the thighs and hips. And then the abs are going to help to pull the hip points up in front, adding to the opening of the hip joint. Inhale, Kegel, exhale and lower. Keep your abs working to support the flexion, and gravity will help bring your spine down as you relax into it. Returning through neutral at the bottom, do just 2 more, please. Kegel, exhale, squeeze the block. Build into your imprint and start to become more active through the bottom of the feet. With all this work down here, relax the neck and the shoulders above. This is very much a back chain of the lower body exercise. At the top, feel like the hamstrings pull toward the calves as the crown lengthens away from the pelvis. Inhale, Kegel, and exhale, lower. Get that 3rd repetition done. And when you've completed it, stretch your legs out long. Of course, move your block off to the side. Go ahead and flex and point the feet a couple of times. We'll inhale to pull the toes up and exhale to point them away. Do that twice more and feel that as you exhale and point the toes away, you get a little response or lift in pelvic floor. And just relax the feet and legs and roll over to lie on your front. We'll start with breaststroke prep number 1, and that's where we have our elbows bent and our hands up near our shoulders. You're probably going to want a little space side to side. Make sure that as you rest here, the chest is still open, you're not starting in a pinched position, and the legs are stretching out long beneath you. A neutral pelvis here. So the pubic bones and the 2 hip points in front resting into the ground without grinding into the ground. Legs are stretched, toes are pointed. You'll inhale to prepare, and then building from your Kegel, exhale and start to reach the top of your chest forward and up, extending finally from the mat as the shoulder blades draw down. Hold at the top, resting on the bottom of the rib cage. And then on your next exhale, lower. Good. Please continue. Inhale at the bottom, creating space in the upper back and chest. And then exhale, moving into extension. The muscles in your middle back will do the movement part of it. Use the lower body with the core, with the abs to help support the spinal movement. Inhale, Kegel, exhale, lower. One final repetition here, please. After you've lowered down, let yourself relax for a breath or 2. So specifically, give the legs a little bit of a breather. We're going to re-engage them and use them pretty aggressively in a moment. Another breath in and out, softening the interior of the chest and the knobby bones at the base of your neck. And then we'll bring the hands under the forehead. Elbows are going to be bent still, but poking out to the sides now. And then exhale, re-engage the legs. So point the toes and then stretch behind the knees as you squeeze inner thighs or activate them lightly and get your Kegel Again, the pelvis is neutral on the front of the body. Inhale. On your exhale, begin to extend and reach through the chest as you lift and float the upper body a couple of inches above the surface of the mat. Keep the pubic bones down into ground. Inhale there. And exhale to lower. 2 more of these as well. Stretch through the legs and exhale. Begin your lengthening finally into extension. Avoid lifting the toes or softening the knees. Keep the thigh muscles firm, the glutes working. Exhale and lower. 1 more time, please. Continuing into your extension. And then exhaling and lowering. And once you're down, move back into a shell stretch. You can sit on your heels or your hips. We round the spine. Maybe nod the head yes, or open and close the jaws. You can tilt your head side to side or move your shoulders. And then from a centered position, exhale and roll up and come to seated. We'll be doing a neck pull front, which is essentially half roll back with a little extra pizzazz. So you can sit up on something if that's helpful to you. Sit on a little something. Bend your knees. And if you like, you can use a block between your feet or your knees. All right. So, in a neutral position, feel the balance of the sitting bones and feel ease in the hips so you're not going to resist movement with tightness here. We'll have the hands up to the forehead, almost like we did a moment ago, lying on our bellies. And feel that wide shape across the elbows that dives down deep into the shoulder blades. Elbows press open just a little bit to lift the chest. Kegel, squeeze the block if you're using it, and on your exhale, roll back. Begin with the lower spine. Moving toward the middle back, keeping the crown of your head upright. Shoulder blades supporting the back of the upper ribs as well as the weight of the arms. Inhale. Now exhale, bend forward from the bottom of your rib cage. Feel the whole upper body responding to that with a forward movement. Fingertips coming toward your knees, still attached to your head, and then inhale up. Repeat, Kegel, exhale, roll back. Lower spine movement. Try not to resist with tension between the top of the shoulder blades. Instead, support with connection through the bottom of the pelvic floor. Inhale here. Exhale, bend at the bottom of the ribs. Your middle back is going to move behind you, and your upper back is going to move forward. It's a bendy lever. Inhale, up you go. Do another one like this, please. Kegel, exhale, roll back. At the end of your travel, inhale here. And then exhale, bottom of the ribs pull back, top of the ribs are slingshotting forward. Maybe not quite so violent as that. And then inhale up. Once you're up, lower your arms and bring your hands together at your chest. Doing a half roll back, we'll add some twist there. So we're going to use this position of the hands not only to relieve the work in the shoulders a little bit, but to provide guidance for all of the rib cage above the navel, right? So take a breath and exhale. Do your half roll back, keeping the top of your head vertical, the tops of your shoulders as well. So you're getting a bend from the lower spine into the bottom of the ribs. Now at the bottom of the ribs, on an exhale breath, we're going to twist. And as you twist, the center of the chest, along with the hands, along with your face and your 2 balanced shoulders, go along for the ride. Inhale, return to center. Exhale, twist in the new direction, turning from the bottom of the ribs. Inhale, return. Continue 2 more times across the sides, so a total of 3 in each direction. When you're even across the sides, keep your hands together at the center of your chest and exhale, roll back up. Allow your legs to relax. Bring the pelvis to vertical and neutral if it's not there already, and rest your hands down by your sides. Inhale, nod the chin downward. Soften the base of the neck and the space between the upper part of the shoulder blades, and exhale, start to bend forward through the upper spine without letting your head slide forward on your neck. That'll require a little bit of work in the muscles of your throat. That's okay. When you're as far down as you can go, inhale at the bottom, Kegel. Breath rising through the pelvis. As it begins to lift up through the bottom of the ribs, you start to lift up as well. And so the breath and the movement is complete at more or less the same time. Do one more spine stretch forward. Inhale, nod the chin downward. Keep support for the head and the neck, and exhale, bend forward, opening the upper back. There, inhale. And then exhale begins, eventually lifting you up and supporting you as you finish your return to neutral. Good. If you're sitting on something, go ahead and move it out from underneath. We're going to do rolling like a ball. So the knees will be bent, and we'll come into the beginning of that by doing a half roll back. Super important to really activate the abs for this motion rather than to just kind of fall back into it and slump. So it's strongly supported. You walk the feet in a little bit. Keep the head and the shoulder tops vertical, and either supporting over the shins or behind the thighs. You'll lift a foot from the mat, and then decide if this is a place where you can balance. When you've got that place you can balance, lift the other foot from the mat. And just have a breath here. On your next inhale, begin to drop your heels closer to the back of your thighs, lightly activating your hamstrings. And then on your exhale, bend forward from the lower ribs, bringing your forehead towards your knees and creating as round a shape as possible through your back. On your inhale, roll back. On your exhale, roll up and balance. Inhale, roll back. Kegel, exhale, balance. And do 5 more, please. Now, if you're keeping that nice round shape through the back and you're able to truly roll, it kind of feels like a little mini massage. Right? So you get this, all right, pleasant opening through the outer part of the spine, this little massage for the muscles on either side. Last couple. That's it, you guys. When you've returned from this next one, we'll shift the hands to the back of the thighs and lift them, the shins, not the back of the thighs, the shins up to more or less horizontal, creating a tabletop through the legs. Working through your imprint, we're going to slowly lower the torso to the ground, keeping imprint and keeping tabletop legs, even through the tricky bits. Leave the head up. Ready for single leg stretch. Exhale, pull one knee in, stretch the other leg long, and then exhale, switch. Opposite hand comes to the inside of the knee. Same sided hand goes to the outside of the ankle. Two more. When you're even, return to tabletop. And exhale, set your head down. Hug your knees in. So on the ground, it's almost like you were in your rolling like a ball position. Have a breath and sigh all of the tension out of the chest. And then on the next exhale, Kegel, squeeze the inner thighs together and place the legs in tabletop. Feel a firming and a concentration of effort in the low belly. Put your hands under the back of your head. Nod your chin, and then relax your upper ribs beneath you. And exhale, bend forward from the bottom of the ribs in front. Prepare for obliques, inhaling. And then exhale, twist from the waist as you extend the opposite leg long. Inhale back through center. Exhale, twist. Keep that going. 3 more times across the sides. Freedom to twist through the rib cage and to extend alternately through the legs, the hips, but nice and steady and quiet in the pelvis. 1 more to each side. And then lower your head. And once more, hug your knees to your chest. Rock a little left and right. We're getting ready for double leg stretch here. So, Kegel, exhale, contract the lower abs and press the legs into tabletop, getting wide through the low back as well as long through the tip of your tail. Hands behind the thighs, nod your chin downward, and exhale, bend forward. On your inhale breath, stretch the arms and legs long. And then exhale, bend your knees, bring your hands down towards your ankles. Inhale, take off your hat, stretch your legs. Exhale, reach and pull up your socks. Inhale. And exhale 2 more times. Lower your head and make little circles with your hips. Go the other way. Hold on to the back of your thighs. Connect into the deep muscles of the pelvis as you Kegel, exhale, and support your imprint. And when the legs are in tabletop, exhale, extend through the knees so that the toes point upward. Keep the legs vertical, nod your chin to your chest, and exhale, bend forward. Start the breath in the low belly. As it rises up through, you'll bend at the ribs and waist. Exhale, one leg lowers and you guide the other leg towards you and switch. Keep that going, please. 3 more across the sides. Yes. You guys good. That last set in. And when you're done, hold the back of your legs, bend them to tabletop. Exhale, lower your head. And exhale, one at a time, lower your feet. Stretch out nice and long. Ah, beautiful work, you guys. So we'll slow it down. That was quite an extended series. We did the whole oblique section. So congratulations, you can pat yourselves on the back. We're gonna roll over and do some heel squeeze. So stretch your legs out. You might swish your feet back and forth like windshield wipers. Sometimes that feels kind of good. You get a little jiggle in the low back and some movement in your hips. And then roll over onto your front. We'll rest the forehead on the hands. And we'll separate the legs to the width of the mat. That's approximate spacing, so you might need to adjust differently. We're going to bend at the knees and flex the feet, and the heels are apart if the legs are parallel. We want to bring the heels together, though, by rotating laterally through the legs from the hips. So go ahead and do that. And the heels will meet. You can make any other adjustments you need to make so that the pubic bones and hip points are resting on the mat. We're simply going to squeeze the heels. Prepare for that with an inhale, then Kegel. And from the inner thighs, exhale, squeeze the heels together. Not pressing outer hips or even IT band area. Inhale, soften the squeeze. Work with subtlety at first, kegling, exhaling, activating inner thighs to increase the squeeze between the heels. Inhale, release. 3 more times, exhaling. Once you've got the correct chain of muscles, you can get a little bit more focused with the squeeze. 2 more times. And 1 more time. Once you've done that last repetition, keep the lateral rotation and lower your legs to the mat. Draw with the inner thighs, the heels together, keeping the legs all the way stretched on the mat, the hips as well. Bring your elbows down by your sides, and we're going to repeat breaststroke prep number 1, just with this lateral rotation in the legs. Inhale, and then exhale. Point the toes, extend the breastbone forward and upward, articulating through each vertebra in the upper back until you're resting on the bottom of the ribs. Turn the head no. Nod the head yes. And then finally draw the soft palate back and up until you feel a continuation through the head with the line of the upper back. Inhale and exhale, lower. Do that again. Prepare with an inhale. Point your toes, engage the back of the inner thighs, and exhale, stretch as you lift. Once you come up this time, secure the muscles in your middle back that frame the bottom of your shoulder blades. And without lifting the pubic bones or the feet, see if you can float the forearms off the mat. And then exhale and lower. Now, I'd like us to try breaststroke prep, or not prep, but the full breaststroke exercise. So if, like me, you're a little bit surrounded at the top end of your mat, you're going to want to scooch down or make a little space around you. So I'm going to scooch down and see if I can avoid knocking everything over. And we're going to keep that turned out first position of the legs. This time, I'm going to have you start with your forehead on your hands. And on the exhale breath, begin to lift the chest from the mat. We extend the arms forward as we continue to float the chest. And on the inhale, sweep the arms wide and down by the hips as you lift to the bottom of the ribs. Exhale, glide forward, reaching the arms in front. And then inhale, circle wide, shoulder blades widening at the top, coming down at the bottom. Exhale, glide long. Inhale, extend upward. 2 more. Hands return to the forehead, And exhale, forehead returns to the ground. Sit back into shell stretch, please. Now here, take your hands on a little walk over to the right. Get a stretch through left side of the back. Inhale, move your head around very gently. And exhale, walk back through center. Take your hands on a little walk to the left or in the other direction. And return back through center. And then finally roll up and sit up, right? We're gonna go into saw. So you can again sit on a little bit of a height if you like. I'm not gonna bother. Just sit up on the ground here. And our legs are abducted, but again, only to about the width of the mat. So if you see my toes, they're not crazy wide, right? Just about as wide as my mat. You want to adjust and make sure that you have room for your arms on either side of you. And flip the pinky fingers up a little bit, feeling an external rotation at the shoulders. Bend the elbows in a little bit, feel a gathering of the muscles underneath the sides of the shoulder blades. And then turn the palms to the front and exhale, reach away through the fingertips until you're entirely stretched and open and engaged under the back of the arms. Inhale, twist from the waist. Exhale, start at the top of your head to bend forward, turn the back thumb down, and reach across to the opposite baby toe. Inhale, come up, and exhale, return to where you started. Inhale, twist to the other side, turn the back thumb down, and reach the arms away from each other as you bend forward. Inhale up, and exhale, return. Twisting on the inhale in the first direction. Exhale, bend forward over, turning back thumb down and stretching arms apart. Inhale up, and exhale, unwind. Twisting in the second direction and continuing through the bend. Reach across, come up, unwind, and do one more in each direction. Begin twisting on the inhale, and then one breath per movement through the rest of it. Beautiful, guys. Good. When you've completed this one, lower your arms. Good. And turn over and come into hands and knees. So hands and knees, and of course you can be on your fists or you can have padding under the wrists if that's helpful. Padding under the knees if you've got a hard floor. Okay. So from that neutral spine, you can shift a little forward and back. You can move through the ribs until you find that sweet spot where everything is in its comfortable position. And then bend the elbows a little bit, keep them parallel to each other, and unshrug the shoulders as you root down or ground through your index finger and thumb. Keeping all 10 fingers grounded, squeeze the elbows in a little bit and extend them, pressing through your triceps. Hold here, and then exhale, extend one leg back, putting the toes on the ground. So we've got this one leg back, toes on the ground. Balance through the hips and the shoulders, and then push off the back toes as you stretch behind the knee and lift the leg up. Once the leg is lifted, bend that knee 90 degrees. We're going to open and close this leg, swinging it out to the side on the inhale. Holding your center line, kegel, and exhale, draw it back in with the inner thigh. Inhale, take the leg out to the side. Kegel, pull it in with the exhale. Do 3 more of these. Don't let your weight drift forward into your neck. Work each time on sensing the balance of the hips and the shoulders. 1 more time. And then put the knee down. And stretch back briefly towards shell or child's pose. Shake no, nod yes. Return to hands and knees. Center it off. And on an exhale, we stretch the other leg back and put the toes in the ground. With the toes in the ground, take the time to balance the hips and the shoulders and to clearly define proprioceptively your midline. When you've got that, push off the back toes and exhale, lift the leg. Initially stretching behind the knee just to feel continuity with the torso, and then bending that knee and flexing the foot. On the inhale, swing the thigh bone out to the side, and then Kegel and exhale, pull it back in. Inhale, swing the leg to the side. Kegel and exhale, inner thighs working along with the glutes, holding the extension as you move the leg toward the midline. A total of 5. And then you'll put the knee down and slide the hips back. Return through hands and knees. And on the exhale breath, stretch the first leg back. Now, I always like to stage it through the floor, but if you're able to go immediately into the lifted position, you go there. Balancing hips and shoulders, organizing around the midline, extend opposite arm forward. Have another exhale here. In a reverse of the normal breathing pattern, we're going to inhale and arch the back as we pull the knee and the elbow toward each other under the body. And then on the exhale, level, using your core connection. Inhale, bending, pulling the knee and the elbow toward each other. And exhale, stretching. Please do 2 more across the same diagonal. Yes, last one. And then when you've finished, lower the hand and the knee. And for a breath or 2, stretch back towards child's pose. You guys, we're almost done. You hang in there. We're going to get the other side done and call it good. Return through hands and knees. Once you're balanced there, exhale, stretch the other leg back. Steady, organized around your long axis. Extend the other arm forward. Prepare with an exhale, and then inhale round, pulling elbow to knee. Exhale, stretch. Do 3 more of these. That's it, you guys. Last one. And then hand and knee lower to the ground. Sit back in child's pose. I know some of you have to go. It's 11 o'clock on the nose, so you can take off if you need to. Yeah. For those of us still here in child's pose, please focus on that slowing, that evening of the flow of the breath. Move your head around a little bit, roll your shoulders a couple of times, and let your lower back release. Have 3 more rounds of breath, inhaling down all the way into the back of the hips. And then exhale, rising upward. 2 more of those. On that last exhale breath, begin to unroll your spine, stacking up. Have a breath in. Sigh out the exhale. And we're done, you guys. Good job this morning.